with 3 ohms and the mantra. Closing your eyes, turning inwards. Slowing your breath. With each breath, your body softens. Let your back, neck, head align themselves naturally. Watch your breath for the moment and come back to yourself. Begin with 3 ohms as we exhale. Let us all inhale in together. Inhale. Here. Let us join our hands at the heart center and let's pray the Lord Dhanvantari to pour in with a good energy and guide us towards health and wellness. यो विश्वं विददाति पाति सततं संहारत्यञ्जसा सृष्ट्वा दिव्यमहौषधीश्च विविधान् दूरीकरोत्यामयाम् बिभ्राणो अञ्जलिना चकास्ति भुवने पीयूषपूर्णं घटम् वन्दे धन्वन्तरीरूपमीशममलम् वन्दामहे श्रेयसे आर्तानां विविधागदैः भुवि परित्राणाय यो वातर पाणिभ्यां निखिलामयान्तकम् सुधाकुम्भं जलौकां दधौ वन्दे वैद्यजगद्गुरुकमपि तम् धन्वन्तरिं सादरं धन्वन्तरिं सादरं धन्वन्तरिं सादरम्. Excellent. How is everyone doing today? Doing good? Yes. Great.
What is the name of this mantra?
Dhanvantari Stavan.
Dhanvantari?
Stavan.
Stavan.
Yeah. Dhanvantari Stavan. But there are different Dhanvantari Stavans all over the colleges of Ayurveda.
And what does Stavan mean?
Stavan means a prayer.
Ah.
Stavan means a prayer.
Piyushapurnam Ghatam.
Because he comes with that amrit in his hand when he comes off the Samudra Manthan. He was the 5th Ratna which came out. Great. So you know the drill. keep your questions coming in, let your questions come in as and when needed. And just to ease the process of learning, the key is to relate it to you, to your life, to what's happening to you, what's happening to the people around you. So to relate that, to get the nature, this is a nature science. So the more you relate it to your life, the more you'll be able to grasp it. Okay? And we need to hold on to the concepts that we did the last time, because those are the basic foundations, because everything we will see from now will be in terms of that language. And we need to slowly build it upon it. So we will need everything we did from last time. We need to understand it, we need to correlate it. So we began with those 20 attributes, right, of heavy, light, hot, cold, oily, dry, gross, subtle, sharp, dull. And those are the real players in whatever happens inside. And they can be broken down into the 5 elements. Can we name them?
Space.
Good.
Air. Air.
Fire,
Water.
water, earth. This is the sequence that we will remember from now on. We all know that. And the specific representation of these elements will give rise to doshas. Excellent.
Yeah.
So doshas are just your outer face. This is just what sees. This is just what you see as in the outer face. What actually works behind is other 20 attributes. Okay. And if we remember this slide from the last time, just the way we know the Samatvam Yoga Uchate so clearly, even in our deep sleep, that we can chant Samatvam Yoga Uchate. The same way goes as Samadosha Samagnishta Samadhatu Malakriya. The basic foundation. You know what the word means, dosha? A slightly different aspect we are going to see to all the 3 words. Dosh dena, fault or to blame, right? So when I see doshas, I look at them as a parents. You know, when something good happens in the family, it is all their credit. At the same time, when something does not go right, it all belongs to them. Whosever decision it is, right? And the other aspect is that they are so big enough that they wholeheartedly or generously take the responsibility of it. Such is the role of the doshas, that they change, they are at the authority position. They change themselves and they influence something else. And what they influence are the dusha. So what will they influence? Simple. They will influence the body tissues. The dhatus are the body tissues. If you don't understand any typical terminology, let me know. Da, yug, that dhatu. So da means foundation, which bears the real weight of life. That's the dhatu. We are going to look into them into detail today. The 7 tissues. And the malas, because even they are under the influence of the doshas. So these are dhatus and the dushas, something which undergoes change. And when something is in authority, it has an influence on others. And that influence is over the body tissues and the waste.
Mala is the waste.
Mala is the waste. But the idea of mala, like in modern medicine, is not just the waste which is thrown out of the body. It is health. And when we look at those malas, we'll understand if the body is in health or where is it going. So waste is not just waste in Ayurveda. So the influence, when we talk about influence, the influence is either normal or it is aggravated or it is depleted. It can go anywhere. It is not absolute aggravation or depletion. Like we saw last time. Heavy is not absolutely heavy. Light is not absolutely light. Something which is light for me can be heavy for somebody else. So we are between that number line. That's a play. So that aggravation and depletion is a play. We need to understand how aggravated, how much aggravated, how less depleted. So the idea is simple, that we bring things to balance. Bring balance into your kind of balance. Your kind of balance. These three glasses represent the Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Your kind of a balance. Or your kind of a balance. It can be anything. So these are the different combinations. They are unique combinations, yet they are normal. Nothing is wrong with them, whatever it is. It is your unique representation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Dosh dhatu mala moolam hi shariram. These are the foundation of your physical representation.
Can you say it?
Dosh dhatu mala moolam hi shariram. Moolam
Shariram.
hi shariram. Dosh dhatu malam moolam hi shariram. These are the mool, these are the roots of your body. And sharir in Ayurveda means shiryate iti shariram. Something which depletes, deteriorates each second is sharir. It is not the way it is now. It is different from what I was a while ago or from the last second. It changes, it undergoes deterioration. So the very first tissue is the rasa dhatu. Now we are going to see the relation of the tissues with the elements we saw, the doshas we saw, right? So what do you think the rasa? The rasa actually correlates to the lymphatic system in the body or the plasma in the blood. So the blood, 55% of, this is modern, a little touch, 55% is plasma and 45% is the cellular structure of the blood, which imparts the real color to the blood. So the plasma is white and clear, maybe off-white in certain conditions, certain discomfort, certain diseases, it turns to be milky white. But normally it is clear. It is rasa dhatu. And its main function is Preenan. I did not mention it, but I know you guys understand the little Sanskrit with Ashwini ma'am, so I'm going to impart some Sanskrit today so that you understand it more better. Because these words have some shades into it, in the English words and the Sanskrit words. So the main function of the rasa dhatu is Preenan. What does Preenan mean? You know, when the baby has just had mother's milk, the satisfaction which the baby and the mom gets, that's Preenan.
What is it? Again word?
Pridan. Pridan.
Preenam.
Pridan.
Preenam.
Pridan. Pri, Ra, Ban, Ra, and Na. Pridanam. So Pridan is actually, you will see this word as nourishment everywhere, but this has an element of that contentment and love in it. That's the difference. Pridan. So when we look at a rasa dhatu, the liquidy, what element will it relate to? Don't look at there. Water. Right? And if it is water, what dosha will it take us to? Kapha. Because kapha is made up of water and earth. Right? So the increase in rasa dhatu will be increase in kapha dosha. Simple.
Because water can only mix with kapha, I mean, you cannot have water with fire or.
Because kapha is made up of water and earth.
Right.
Space and air, vata. Fire and water, pitta. That's the combination. That's the major thing we saw last time. Okay? And every tissue has an accessory tissue to it or an adjoined tissue to it. Last time we saw upaved, right? So upa is something which comes with it. So the accessory tissue or the adjoining tissue here is the breast milk and the menstrual blood. So any menstrual related disorders, we rectify, we look at the rasa dhatu first. Because if the dhatu is good, only then the accessory tissues would be great. Does that make sense?
So that means only the women have that, the accessory tissue.
Yes.
Men don't have it, obviously.
Yes. But there is also some element to this. Let's complete, we will hold your question until last. Okay. So this has an influence over, and rasa dhatu's importance is such that when the baby is born, this is the first thing which the baby gets. That's the real essence of life. That's the real rasa. And the idea in the 7 dhatus or the 7 body tissues is such that if the first tissue is good, well formed, well developed, only then the other tissues would be nourished. Because there is a cycle which goes on. You remember the last time when the food comes in the Jatharagni, there was an arrow and the other tissues, and there was an arrow towards the tissues also. So the better your previous tissue, the better will be the next tissue coming in. Because it is formed in a chain. So your rasa dhatu is the key to your health. Rasa means something which flows all through the body. It flows with the blood. It is that lymph which is everywhere, right till the tip of the fingers. It is everywhere. It is represented in your skin. That we will come to when we will do the how do we identify the best of the dhatus. And the waste given, so every tissue gives also the waste. So the waste given is the kapha, but this kapha is not the kapha dosha. It is the mucus, excess of mucus, excess of phlegm. You know, kids, there's an excess of phlegm which comes off. The baby drools sometimes because the baby is extra fed. If you feed the baby extra, anything which is excess in body will come out in some way. If the body doesn't need it, it will throw it out. Very simple.
So if the baby drools, that means there is a problem?
Yes, it is an excess of rasa dhatu.
Feed
Not all babies drool, so it's okay.
It is okay in certain sense, but if the baby is always drooling, Not great. We also see animals drooling. Animals drool because there is an excess of hydration which the body doesn't need. Not every baby drools. No? Drools is not good. Excess of drooling. When even in leprosy, I forget the example, in facial paralysis, when you cannot keep the face into position, it it drools. It's a rasadhatu. Uh, we need to see how the rasadhatu is functioning in that way.
Then it's nothing to do with the physical thing.
It is to do with the physical thing, but it is a nervous system, right? It's just one of the factors. So in paralysis there are many factors. So this is one of the factors which mentions, because we are highlighting this, right? So
Any neurological disorders, can we look into Rasadhatu?
we have to look into rasadhatu. Any female disorders, we have to look into rasadhatu. Major thing.
For infertility.
Excellent, yes. Rasadhatu in menopause. See, how much ever I talk, there'll be different menopause. Rasadhatu.
So you gave the example of the baby, but Rasadhatu, you can look at it throughout your life then. That's
Excellent. The rasadhatu depletes in the older adults. There is a friction because the rasadhatu is hampered. Friction between the joints.
So how do you keep it normal?
We will see first the abnormalities.
Okay,
So-
that's nahi hai zindagi ka.
That's very important, rasa. That enthusiasm is brought by rasa. And when you have had that prenan feeling is when you have had a good food, not an outlandish or a lavish meal, but a very basic meal, and still you feel that contentment. That is the feeling of prenan.
Acha.
That is the feeling of prenan.
So that's the goal, to feel prenan.
Prenan, that's the
Throughout
goal.
the
If your rasa dhatu is great, the rest of the dhatus will do absolutely good. And if again the same principle, if they go aggravation, there are certain physical characteristics that we will see now. And if they undergo depletion, there are another few characteristics that we will see. So what if this goes aggravation? There will be a profuse salivation, excessive heaviness. Because water is one of the second last heavy elements, right? So that if that goes in excess, it's going to be heaviness. You're going to feel that heaviness. Does that make sense? Because that's one of the heavy elements. So if that's in excess, it will cause heaviness. The body loses its heat holding capacity. That's hypothermia. The body will become lax. There is an extra water in it. Whenever there is an extra water, the body will get fluid, excessive fluid, flaccidity.
So does that mean water retention?
Maybe
What else could be excessive fluidity?
different kinds of tastes that we are going to see today. If they go in excess, there can be a water retention. In case of edema, there can be an excess of water retention. Unnecessary drinking of water, that is again one of the excess of water retention. Diabetes can cause a lot of water retention, and there's a frequent wanting to urinate, frequent urge to urinate. All the metabolic disorders come into that picture of excess water in the system. You feel lethargic. There is people are seeing pallor. What if they undergo depletion? So I'll ask you one question. Have you ever felt any time that you get intolerant to normal voices around you? Even if someone is talking to you in normal voice, the TV volume is normal, regular as always, but you still want Shanti do. Like, lower the voices, don't talk to me, I want that side. That is the moment when the rasa undergoes depletion. Shabda asahiష్nuta. One of the major characteristics that we see every day. That is the time when you need that replenishment. Shabda asahiష్nuta. Intolerance to normal voices. We all experience that. We ask people to lower their television voices. Tiredness, exhaustion, especially you see this at the end of the long day. If you had too much on your mind, if your mind has got disturbed, that is the feeling of rasakshay, when you are unable to hear anything. To hear the normal voices. And about the waste, if the dhatu or if the tissue is not produced well, it will produce excess of waste. So if the body produces excess of waste, it only means that the tissue itself is not strong and it is not of the best quality.
How can you determine that?
Hmm?
How can you determine?
If there is an excess of whizzing scene, in case of asthma, in case of different disorders, it is a form of examination. Okay. The next, the Rakta Dhatu. Rakta Dhatu is related to the blood, hemopoietic system, and liver, because liver is the home of the blood. All of that. Is that too small or visible? Okay. The predominance dosha here is the fire and the water, because it's influenced by the pitta. Blood and pitta are very, very correlated to each other. The pitta aggravates, it will aggravate the blood. Always remember, they are very good friends. Who are very good friends? Pitta and blood. Yes. Pitta and blood are very good friends. If it aggravates blood boils. If you get angry, the blood boils. Absolutely great. If you get angry, if you are not happy about certain thing, your pitta will aggravate. That will heat the blood up. And pitta is made up of fire and water. Simple. The accessory tissues here are the arteries and the veins. They are made up of blood, according to Ayurveda. And the waste is pitta. The pitta here comes in the form of bile. If the gastric juices, if the digestive juices are not well used, they will just sit in there and they can cause ulcers, acidity, acid reflux, all of that. Because they are waste, they are not being utilized. Something which is not utilized is the waste. So waste is the pitta here. And the function, so what was the function of the rasa? Prinansh, nourishment. This is jivan. Rakta iti jiva stitihi. it signifies life. Blood signifies life.
Can you just read off what that says? Aggravation in wrong way
Yes.
leads
So leads to herpes. Does everybody know what herpes is? Shingles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes?
Like
So
chickenpox.
it is not chicken pox. It is a nerve disorder. It comes through a nerve. It is nervy. And there is a burning pain, real sense of burning pain in herpes.
Herpes is not the same.
Hmm?
Shingles is
Shingles
different
is
from herpes.
related to chickenpox. I think herpes.
Herpes is more, these things that happen at the.
Here, herpes is called shingles.
Oh.
Herpes is not a word here used in United
Yeah.
States, but it is the same.
No. I thought herpes is the one that affects these, the between the
Joints? No.
between the fingers.
No, it can come anywhere. It comes
Yeah, I
from.
know that. That's not.
It comes from it affects your nerves. It will deadlock your nerves. It is a burning pain, intense burning pain.
It's called sarpa. In Kannada it's
Sarsham?
called sarpam.
So herpes is the same thing as shingles?
I think herpes is called shingles here. Shingles is not the word used in India.
Shingles is to do with
Chickenpox.
chickenpox.
It's over here. You
Hmm.
get shingles when you're older. If
Yeah.
you've had chickenpox as a youngster, then that virus still stays in your system. And when you're older, if your immune system is compromised or you're under stress, then you can get shingles. And it follows that nerve somewhere over here.
Yes, that is herpes. Same as herpes.
Yeah, in India we call it herpes.
In India we call it herpes.
So
Same as the
what
herpes.
you
It goes
call
through the nerve.
shingles here is called herpes in India.
Yes, for sure. For sure. And there are certain schools which also say that if it begins on one side and if it begins on the other side and if they meet, then it is really like bad and stuff.
It's considered sarpa undu in Kannada. Sarpa because it spreads like a snake, and if it completes
But the
its
pain is so bad.
It
My mom-in-law got
is
it.
intense. It is an intense pain which I cannot put it into words.
Yeah,
it is intense burning pain. So it is a pitta disorder and can also be a vata disorder which affects your nervous system. Yes, Sukesh.
I had it when I was a child. For the leg, it was in the leg area. Not very severe.
And these are the certain boils which come.
And it just
Tell me.
creeps in. If you don't figure out it's shingles and it passes that point, then it just goes out of control. And it lasts for months really.
It depends on how is everything. Tell me.
So in the US, herpes is a sexually transmitted disease. And
That's why I was saying.
that's why, I mean, I didn't want to say, but I just Googled it, and so I'm verifying that. So I'm wondering why in India they're calling herpes as shingles.
Herpes, the way you described it, so herpes and shingles is the same according to me
in India.
in India.
Yeah, but
Because the word herpes is not used here, I think.
it is.
It is used.
Oh yes, it's as a sexually transmitted disease.
So the disease form is different. We are talking about something else, I think.
Okay, sexually transmitted infection.
Okay.
Okay. I guess we are talking shingles.
Shingles, the one
What you're talking about is shingles.
Yeah.
Okay.
talking about shingles, but did you understand the nature?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the sexually transmitted disease. Spleen disorders, because whatever wrong happens with the blood, spleen is the one which rectifies it. It is like a mother figure for the blood. Very important. The spleen disorders, abscess in case of skin disorders. We saw the Bhrajak Pitta, the one which digests all the maybe the Abhyanga or the different kinds of herbs that we use over the skin. To digest them, we need the Bhrajak Pitta. So skin disorders. Inflammatory disorders like gout, arthritis, rheumatic arthritis, these have Pitta element in it. Due to the Rakta. The Rakta gets dushit in arthritis. So we also need to look into Rakta. Eyes. Because eyes is a seat of which element?
Fire.
Great. So fire, Rakta, fire element. Hepatic dysfunction. Yeah.
So, I just want to make a comment on something that was told to me a decade or so ago. That this one person, he's a chiropractor, he was giving an example. He says that when he said poor digestion is linked to failing eyesight.
Yes.
And you just 15 years later clarify to me why.
It is said in Ayurveda. Ayurveda speaks about kala. We will bring up this because this is very deep, but we will bring it up in some time later. The kala are the different layers inside us, and intestines. The kala which resides there is the Majjadhara kala. Majja, we will come to that tissue later. So the Majjadhara kala resides in the intestines, and the eyes are made up of Majja, that bone marrow tissue. We will come to that tissue. And they come from a same origin, and hence so treating your eyes is like treating your gut, because their origin is same, Majja. They come from the same origin. Different concept. Urinary disorders. Why urinary disorders? How is the urine when it comes out? Is it hot, cold?
Hot.
Hot. And out of the three doshas, you remember the triangle? The Pitta was at the top. Because Vata and Kapha both are cold. Both are cold. So Pitta related disorders will be urinary disorders will come under Rakta. So this
Can urine ever be cold?
good question. I don't think so in normal conditions.
I don't think so.
Simple rule, cold constricts. If there's an excess of kapha, the urine will be dribbling and it won't come out because it will cause constriction of the system inside. Only warmth will release and the urine will effortlessly come out. Warmth expands, cold constricts.
So,
Simple.
talking of that, and maybe you're going to cover it later, but what about when you get things like stones, kidney stones, or I don't know what other stones?
There is an
Gallstones.
obstruction. Obstruction happens to the flow.
Yeah. So does that fit into here, Dhatu, or?
No. No. Can be, can not be. Because, the stones, the description of the stones given in Ayurvedic books is just like the modern description. If you see, there are different qualities given for the Vataj stones, for the Pittaj stones, Kafaj stones, and Raktaj stones. There are different qualities given, and if you match them, they are exactly the same. Just the Sanskrit words and the English words, they are exactly the same. The description given, and I think in Vataj, I think the calcium oxalate ones are the ones which are, I'm not sure I'll rectify, but the idea is that these are the one which have a little thorns over it, thorns kind of, and they're painful. And the description given in the Ayurvedic books is Shava Varna. Now, those times there were no scans, there were no examinations done. How did they know that it is Shava Varna? Shava is blackish, grayish, blackish. So the idea is that when it is painful, it is so painful, and once when it comes out with blood, because it is that thorny thing which hurts your system, hurts your tissues within. It comes out with the blood which comes out gets occult, and that is Shava Varna. The once the blood gets accumulated, coagulated, that gets black in color. Hence, that is Shava Varni. My God.
Which one is shower?
I think it is calcium oxalate stone, oxalate stones.
Kidney stones are
Kidney stones.
too much of. That's why they say the tomato seeds and the spinach,
Which give the root.
spinach and those kind of things. If you overeat, it has calcium oxalate crystals.
Because they form the seed.
They also say it's crystals. They say it's calcium oxalate crystals.
Crystals. But those crystals are not smooth.
Yeah.
The one which will have smooth are the kafaj stones.
That's
They are
why said
painless.
Not to have raw spinach and all, right? They should be always cooked.
Doesn't matter, but anyways, we say no to spinach during those times. No spinach and no tomatoes.
If the stone falls out, then can we eat?
Yes.
Because I have that problem. Yeah.
Stones problem.
Yeah. Kidney stones.
If
Always
there is
weekends I
dehydration,
have
if there is less of water intake, one of the reasons why kidney stone happens. If the region that we live in is dry, because then we don't need whole lot of water to drink, that is when the system gets dehydrated from within. So, what if the Rakta Dhatu undergoes depletion? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see that.
Yellow.
There is a crave for Amla Rasa, for the sour things.
Khatta.
There is a crave, and people want to live in a cold environment. Shishira Preeti. That is when you know that the Rakta Dhatu is under Kshaya.
Shishir is
Rutu, but Shishir in this word is cold. There are different meanings
wow.
of a simple word. Shishir. Shishir is one of the Rutus. It is
Summer.
no. Shishir is in the mid of fully blossomed winter is Shishir.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Blossomed winter, real winters. Circulatory disorders, varicose veins, all that numbness is Raktakshay. Mouse. Mausa is related to the musculature, simple. And the function is coating, to coat it. Sorry, that is not visible.
Can you highlight it? Maybe then we can see it.
I'll read it out for you. I don't think I can do it. Okay, never mind. So, what do you think? Don't look at there. What do you think the mouse dhatu will have? What elements? Look at the mouse. Imagine the mouse. Because it is solid, stable. Earth and water. So, earth written before and water later means earth is more dominant. Okay? And kapha. And the accessory tissue here is skin. Skin, yes. Skin is very beautifully explained in Ayurveda with 6 layers, 7 layers. And there are diseases given in each layer, very beautifully explained.
Did you mention a book last time? Like on Ayurveda? What would be a really good book that gives you like a basic understanding, if there is such.
There are, I'm not sure about the books because we always refer the original.
Right. Yeah.
David Frawley's book.
I didn't read any book as per English thing. There are certain,
Vasant
things are not
Lawrence is-
explained well sometimes.
Mm.
You know, you should share these slides with us, sort of like form a textbook for us.
I will soon write something.
Yeah, do write something, put all these slides together and write something. It'll be like a textbook for us.
Right.
We can
right.
see the slides on the YouTube that we will see the record.
But that won't show up,
Yeah.
right?
I
So
I
there
will
are no-
change that. I
Yeah.
will change that. You can write it, in fact. I'm sorry,
Oh,
I
we
just
can't
tried
see
to, I just wanted to give you a color with things and you remember those things
Right.
then I failed, but.
But it's good to remember that, to have darker colors.
Right. So, the waste here is the secretions from the ears and nose. Khamala. What is kha? Kha means space. Kha means, very important, don't write it, it's yours.
Yeah.
Kha means space. Space.
Space.
Like succumb.
Empty. Emptiness. Kha means space. And when these space, because these are spaces,
Yeah.
when they get filled with stuff, it means your main tissue itself is producing those waste, because the tissue itself is not in a good qualified form. In normalcy, everything is okay, but if it's produced in excess, then it is the khamala which is coming out. Okay? Khamala.
So is it that the way the tissue is not good and the waste is
Produced in excess.
it's filling up because the tissue is not good?
Yes, kind of,
Okay.
yes. But everything in normal is good. Normal, everyday cleaning. But sometimes you find it is filling up too much.
Mm.
That is a problem.
So you had said in the beginning that the tissue, the first tissue, if that's not good, then rest of the tissues will also be not good, right? So how does one get the first tissue to be good?
Food, eat well.
Okay.
Because when you eat well, the ahara rasa is formed. We saw ahara rasa.
Yeah.
So ahara rasa will go to the heart, and that will work on each dhatva agni, each dhatu, the 12. Okay, so we saw the Jathar Agni, the main Agni, which has an influence over how many in total Agnis? 13, right? Out of which the main one was the Jathar Agni, and 5 Bhut Agni, 5 elemental fire, and the 7 Dhatva Agni.
Yeah.
So if the Jathar Agni is good, it will maintain the rest of the 12 Agnis good. Same way, if the malas, there are 3 major malas that we will see, 3 major excretory products. Feces, urine and sweat. These are the dhatu mala.
Okay.
Dhatu mala. Very less in quantity. It comes under it. If it's too much produced in excess, that is not what we anticipate, that's not what we expect. Khamala. And Kha Vaigunya, we will see this, very important when we see what is Srotas, where does these tissues come from, what are these made up of. If you want to see that, Kha Vaigunya is something, when there is a space, excess of space formed in the body, which is not wanted, the doshas can seep into it, the doshas can get into it. Hence, we do not want those extra Kha Vaigunya. Vaigunya is Vikruti, the word comes from. Any disorder, any discomfort. Kha Vaigunya. The space is now filled with unwanted stuff. Because there are different spaces in us. We have also space into our joints. We have a huge abdominal space in it. There are different micro, macro spaces all over us. And the weaker the channels, the easier for the doshas to get into. We will see how the doshas transit. You know, when the bucket fills up, the doshas, imagine that the water is filling up. So the doshas are filling up and sanchay, accumulate, the doshas will accumulate in the bucket, in their own houses. We saw the homes of the doshas. Prakop is that the water is coming to the brim. Still, the person is not taking any efforts of, pacifying the doshas. But then the doshas will undergo prasar, that they will leave their own homes and enter everywhere where they are not supposed to enter. That is prasar. And then they will, sthana samshray, they will enter the other homes of the other doshas. They will go wherever they are not supposed to go. So suppose my weaker channel is my knees, or if my weaker channel is my digestive system, the doshas will go there. It will alter my system. So this is the transition of the doshas. We'll see that in detail. That's beautiful. The doshas, and then the disease is exhibited or manifested. In the chai, prakop, prasar, it is not manifested. It will manifest itself in sthana samshray. When it gets into the other channels, only then it will come off. Otherwise, it is in dormant stage. If the Mamsa Dhatu gets excess, it will cause tumors. It will cause cysts, enlargement of the glands, goiter, fat deposition, cyst formation. There will be fat deposition over cheeks, thighs, abdomen. And if it depletes, we will see giddiness in the eyes, because this is all Mausa Dhatu. This is made up of muscles. All muscles which hold the ocular system in place. Giddiness in eyes, drooping of eyes, musculature wasting, muscle wasting, around cheeks, around abdomens, and sandhi vedana, pain in joints, can also be sometimes related to the Mausa deficiency.
Muscular what? Depletion.
Yes. If the dhatu undergoes depletion, it will cause sandhi vedana, joint pain. Sandhi is joint. Can be. So it is actually asthi also, it is majja also, but this sometimes it is forgotten. But this is one of the physical characteristics given. Now we see how are we going. We are going from rasa, rakta, mausa, meda. How are we going from, if we consider the body, we are going from outwards to inwards, right? So this is the innermost. Now from here we will again go from inwards to outwards. Fatty tissue, adipose tissue. The function is simple, lepan. It lubricates. Snehan, sorry, not lepan.
And
Lepan is,
Manasa Dhatu, what is for this is Lepan.
no, for Mausa Dhatu it is lepan. This is snehan.
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 And what was the accessory tissue there? Something, it's a muscular sheath and something else. It's there.
Something which covers your, so every muscle has a covering. That is muscle sheath.
And one more, there was one more.
Skin.
Skin.
Water and earth, this is made up of and kapha dosha.
What exactly is lepan? Coating.
Coating. Coating. And if there is an excess of the adipose tissue, it will cause weakness because there are flabby tissues formed. There's a lot of flabbiness. There is no strength. And this tissue can be everywhere, anywhere in the body. So there is no proper strength and endurance in the body. The excess of Meda Dhatu. And when we saw the Agni concept, Agni is related to the fire element. And we saw how it is placed in the middle and that it balances the other two elements on the two elements on each side. Same is the Meda Dhatu. Out of 7 tissues, that is the middle one. So the adipose tissue or the fatty tissue needs to be balanced. Otherwise, it won't keep the rest of the tissues in good condition. Very important tissue. And the accessory tissue is the ligaments. And the waste here is sweat. Sweat is one of the major excretory products. So we saw some sweat disorders last time, the hand sweating, that can be made avrutta vat. So this avrutta vat is also another beautiful concept given in Ayurveda. So it can be related to Meda Dhatu. And if the adipose tissue undergoes excessive depletion, if you see a good Kafaj person going under a lot of gymming and all of the extra workout regimen, you will see that person will develop splenomegaly, that excessive enlargement of spleen, because now the spleen has to work harder. Major things, splenomegaly. That is also one of the reasons given why splenomegaly.
How can you tell if someone's got enlargement of the spleen? Like, can you tell by looking at them?
Not looking at them, pain,
Okay.
a frequent pain in that region, and if the scanning is done. Yes. But if someone is giving out too much of fat in a very short time, they are ought to develop splenomegaly. For sure.
If they're losing fat?
They're losing a lot of fat in a very short period. We need to also keep a hand on the spleen if it's functioning well, if it's doing its job well.
So obesity would be excessive Meda Dhatu.
Yes. Right? Yes. Over abdomen, over gluteal region, over hips. Yes. And if that Meda Dhatu undergoes depletion within no time, then it will cause stiffness in the pelvis.
So that's because the joints not being lubricated.
Not being lubricated. We need that actual amount of Meda Dhatu to lubricate everything, every part of the body. Not excess, but yes, in a good quantity, in a good quality. Not too much, not too less. Hence, Ayurveda doesn't support Madhyam Sharir. It will support Madhyam Sharir, not Ati Sthaulya, Ati Karsha. It will not support. But it still says, Vagbhatacharya still says that Karsha is always better. A lean body is always better but if you compare, Madhyam body frame is always good to have. That is always appreciated.
But we frame itself, we cannot help it, right?
We cannot help because we are the structure. We are what we are made up of. If someone is originally a kapha dhatu, that normal frame, see that the glasses had different waters. It did not mean what frame in the sense, I mean your kind of frame. So for if a vata person puts on a lot of weight, for him he will say no, I'm normal now. But for the same for the kapha person, if he puts that excess of weight, it is visible. That's not excess, that is excess for that person. So there is a theory of relativity. That's the basis of Ayurveda. It is what is good for you, what is best for you, what is your typical frame. Madhyam can be Madhyam, my Madhyam will be different. Her Madhyam is different. Somebody else's Madhyam is different. Okay? Asti Dhatu. The bony structure, the skeletal system. And along with teeth, the accessory tissue here is teeth. So you see people grinding their teeth at night. Are there people around you also grind their teeth? There is something related to they are either vata prakriti, or the vata is getting aggravated. Something is happening with the vata, and hence it has influence over the teeth. The dental history is one of the histories that we ask when we take the case history. How are your teeth doing? If it's a pitta person, the teeth will be yellowish. You'll understand that there's something going on with the digestion. If they are eating too much sour pickles and all that stuff, the teeth will get sensitive. And sour taste will affect your joints. Tamarind, not great for the joints. It will eat all your synovial fluid. Yeah, you're going to come down to it.
That's interesting.
And the best example in Ayurveda that the waste is not the real waste is the waste of the Asti Dhatu, nails and the hair. So these are the extension of your Asti Dhatu.
So again, what is waste here with regards to nails and
It is waste only. Your hair is a waste. And
I know,
It's
we
a
spend
waste.
so much money on it, right?
it is a waste. The nails are the waste.
Beauty hair.
So does that mean if you have more hair, I mean, what do you mean by it's a waste? Like, if you have more hair, or is it if your hair is balding,
See,
or what?
waste. So the concept in waste in Ayurveda is slightly different. So waste is not
Bekar.
Okay.
bekar? It means bekar.
No, it's not bekar.
It means bekar, but it is not bekar.
No, I mean, like,
It means bekar.
it
The
almost-
word mala means mala. It is a mala, but that gives us a lot of understanding of what's happening. Nails. Why nails is one of the examinations of Dashavidh Pariksha. We will see that next time. So all those examinations when we do, it is one of the important. People do this.
Yeah, they eat them.
Their Asti Dhatu may not be great. So I don't want to be, oh, no, it's not good. Right?
So does it, like having good hair, for example, that is, it's telling you how well you're doing on the inside?
Exactly.
So good hair is waste, right? I mean, no, I don't understand. See here I understood Rasadhatu.
You
The
got
waste,
it.
The waste is kapha.
It's a very good question.
So that's I understood that. And here in Rakta Dhatu, the waste is pitta, excess bile, acid, all that. And the waste in the other one was secretions from the ears and nose, which I didn't understand. And this one also is like a little bit. So those are all practical things, right? We think of it as okay, it's a coating inside your ear, which probably all the dust collects on the dust. those kind of things, and then your hair and your nails probably some function it has.
The way waste, we look at the waste and we understand how the original tissue is working. You look at waste like this. Even when I look at somebody's feces, I will see how healthy it is, how healthy the person is.
So you could say waste is an indicator of
Yes, yes, absolutely. You look at the waste and you see how well you are doing. So waste is in that sense. And to not call it as a waste, I just turned the word saying they are extension of your bony tissue, your skeletal system. Because you don't know what the skeletal system is doing inside. Because at those times there were no scans and nothing. How do I understand how my tissue is? In fact, the nails are also related to the rasa dhatu. Somebody who does this. No, the nails have to be normal, well formed, nourished.
So
They should grow well. They should not break on their own.
as you were saying, so those who are molding,
Huh.
so unka skeletal system has problem.
See, there are different reasons. There are different reasons. There can be any reasons. If it's a pitta person, that pitta person will lose hair in the pitta stage. They will have less hair. So it depends on multiple factors. Multiple
Also, hair
factors.
is very genetic, especially for men. It's very genetic.
And every man will get bald at some part of the life. That's the M-shaped baldness. So it is sooner or later.
Ajne to kal.
Oh, nice.
There she goes. Yeah. So, out of everything that you talked about, I mean, I can see some things within myself, right, that are happening. So let's say that I came to you and I said something, right? Let's say I'm losing my hair, right? So can I come to you and then you can say, okay, we can fix it by looking at all these other factors. We said, yes, we can fix.
Yes, we can fix. Why not?
I'd like to make an appointment, please.
Hey, you are number 2. She's checking me next week.
So when we look at a patient, there are different aspects to it.
Yeah.
How is this going? How is that going?
So that basically you're looking at everything. It's not just one thing that it's everything.
So
is
I'm talking
interconnected.
about this because this is on highlight today,
Correct.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Relativity.
Yeah.
Today I'm talking to this in relationship, and hence I need to highlight this. Holistic system. This is the first thing that I spoke the other day. It is a whole. We need to look at a person as a whole. It is one of the aspects, yes. But sometimes it also means, I've also seen patients where there is a lot of aches and pains in the tissues. They have a hunch in the back, they have scoliosis and all of that. Still their hair is very good. Very good. You will see, oh my God, what good skeletal system you have. But that's not the case. There are pains, the different things. Even if you don't see good hair, but their system from within is excellent because it is their type, it is their body type which has so much of hair is okay for them. It is their own special, unique combination. So that is not related always, but there is a relation many a
Because
times.
it's so individualistic. Like each individual is different, and everyone has a different way of digesting and
Yes,
what you eat and what I eat.
different.
Yeah.
The
Probably
way I
same
process,
thing.
huh.
The way I process it is going to be different.
First, when we did Agni, we saw same group of people, if they are fed with same thing,
Yeah.
are they going to end up with same disorders? No, everyone is different.
Right.
They are going to process it differently.
So it's like you have all these chemicals inside of you, and whatever, it's how the chemicals, I mean, I'm using that as a generic term, how the chemicals process the incoming, food or whatever.
Nutrition.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It is your
that-
Agni also. How good your Agni is.
Right.
How good you digest a good food and how good you digest
The
even
bad
on a
food.
street or a street food.
also.
So that's what we spoke about. It is an unsung hero, the Agni. It is something which transforms inside.
And you can, if somebody's Agni is not strong, through Ayurvedic treatment, you can bring it into balance.
Yes. And we will see one of those forms after in the next slide. Hypertrophy of bones. If it goes in excess, okay, the function is dharan. The function, so prinanam, jivanam, lepanam, sneho, dharanam. Foundation, the skeletal system is to hold. Dharan is to hold.
Yeah.
So this will hold your body together. Okay. Hypertrophy of bone, abnormal bony growths, osteophytes. You see extra bone coming out of spurs
Yeah.
from, especially from the heels.
Yeah.
And the
That is-
bunions, those people get them like here.
That's
Mm.
gout.
Yeah.
Extra. No, that's not gout.
So what is that? That's extra growth.
Osteopathic.
Osteophytes that are called, because you can see it on
Yeah.
extra bony growth.
People get that new operated.
They get
Yeah,
operated.
yeah.
I've got a few spurs, but I have seen that I've seen.
Extra dentition. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody told me few months before that there was a kid around 10 years old, whose many extra teeth were extracted.
I know my daughter also. So many at one point I was scared. I said it is coming out of here.
Huh.
It's like I had to take.
Wow.
So I think I saw her. She has a very good height.
She's tough.
So Asti Dhatu is very good, can be. So there is an extra dentition. Some hundreds of teeth were taken off that kid. I don't remember the number. Yeah. So extra dentition. The Asti Dhatu is hyper. It's too much, in excess in the body. Or the other thing is when it goes under depletion, it causes inflammation of the bones, the joints. There's a general weakness. The naturally formed fractures, physiological fractures, it is called. The body's bony tissue is not able to hold the tissue in its place, hence it breaks by itself.
What's that last word there?
Osteomyelitis. Itis is inflammation. Osteo and myo.
Inflammation of the bones.
Yes. It's, inflammation of the bones, also some muscular tissue in myo. Myo is musculature.
So it says rickets there, right? So they say rickets and vitamin D.
Yes.
So my question was, so in those days they had figured out, there are so many things which are caused due to vitamin deficiencies. So those days they had already figured out ways to correct those. When the Western world just discovered the use of vitamins very late, right? So 16th, mid 17th, I don't know, 18th century or whatever. So they could look at these things and then tell you what to eat or what not to eat.
Right. So when I was reading around this understanding, and the vitamin D capsules, these are actually the lipid capsules. This is what I read. These are actually the lipid capsules, and the tissue before Asthi is so fatty tissue. So fatty tissue gives rise to a good Asthi. Hence, you will build a good tissue with vitamin D capsules, it is said, but vitamin D is actually a lipid capsule. So if your fat is good, that will give rise to a good bones. You need good fats. Hence, it is so much spoken about good fats. Do good fats. Do your body needs it. Saturated fats are not bad for you. You need them to build a good Asti Dhatu. This principle, this chain in Ayurveda explains that. It is nothing else. It is not the calcium tablet that you are eating for a good bony structure. It is a lipid capsule that you are taking in. That's what I read. So that explains. If the previous dhatu is good, it will build good the next dhatu. Majja. Majja is to fill. Puranam. Puran is to fill the tissues. The bones are filled with something, and that is Majja Dhatu, the bone marrow. The nervous system, you can consider nervous system. Water and earth, and it takes us to Kapha. So the Asti Dhatu is the Vata. Did you see? I forgot to mention that. The Asti Dhatu's element is earth because it is the foundation. Foundation can only be built on earth and space, because there is a space inside, and that space is filled with Majja. And that is Vata dosha. So good tall personality will take us to a Vata personality. Vata Prakriti. No, it's not seen well. I'm sorry for that. That is an excess of secretions in the eyes. A lot of things that we get in the lacrimal secretion, that is the Majja paste. You are losing that tissue. If that is in excess, normal, fine. Puranam, to fill something. So the bones have to be filled with something. Otherwise, it will cause osteoporosis. It will cause
Bone growth.
holes. Huh?
Oh, is it not bone growth? Growth of the bone, osteoporosis.
That's
Osteophytes.
osteophytes.
Oh.
Osteoporosis is pores.
Holes.
Holes. Literally means holes. Because the Asti Dhatu is given out in the bloodstream. It is deteriorating. Hence the holes are formed. If in excess, it will cause heaviness in the body. You know, you've seen clubbing, fingers coming together. Clubbing of the fingers, especially feet.
For arthritis.
Arthritis, they are clubbed together.
Yeah.
That is not just, or it is majorly Majja Dhatu. That's majorly this tissue and very less of the Asthi Dhatu or the skeletal Dhatu.
Will that happen in an early age or adult age?
It depends on how well your Majja Dhatu is. It can happen at any age, the clubbing.
Heaviness in eyes.
Yes, heaviness in eyes, heavy body, clubbing of fingers, dry eczema. Because Puran it is filling with the unctuous material. That Majja is soft, it is oily, it is unctuous. And if the body loses of those unctuousness, of that snigdha guna, of that softness, smoothness, it is going to end into dry eczema. Okay? And not well formed Majja Dhatu will cause porosity, numbness.
So there was met a lady in Prashanti, she had something called rheumatoid eczema. So not
So
only
it is-
rheumatoid pain of that, but this also. So then it's like
So treat Majja Dhatu.
Can you read the depletion part?
Yeah, not well formed will cause porosity of the bones, numbness in the bony tissue, Brahma Timira Darshanam, vertigo. One fine day you feel that vertigo thing, you need to rectify the Majja Dhatu. Beautiful. Darkening or blurring of the vision.
Oh, like glaucoma. Oh,
Glaucoma
eyes.
is the pressure increases.
Okay.
Glaucoma, the pressure on the eyeballs is in excess. That's glaucoma.
So when
Vision.
darkening.
Spinning. Vertigo.
Vertigo.
Oh, I see. So
But
you're
yeah,
saying the blurring of the vision due to vertigo.
Can be separate, can be together. Brahma Timira Darshanam. Timir is darkening.
Can you read those? The
The
first
blue
one?
ones.
Yeah, the blue ones.
Not well formed Majja Dhatu causes porosity of the bones, numbness in the bony tissue. It can cause vertigo, darkening of the vision, and blurring of the vision. Not all of them, but you can see at least some. And if this dhatu is not functioning well, it's going to affect the next dhatu, and hence it hampers the functioning of the reproductive system.
Oh. In both men and women.
Because next is the Shukra dhatu. So if the Shukra dhatu is good, it is the best of the rest of the dhatus. So it has no waste and no accessory tissue. Some acharyas call ojas as the waste, but that ojas is also actually not the waste, it is the best essence of all the tissues. Right? So some call that as a waste, but generally there is no waste. The predominant is the kapha dosha, water is dominant, and earth. So if that's in excess, it will cause increase in sexual desires and reproductive disorders that can go from anywhere to anywhere. And if decreased, that can cause infertility, delayed ejaculation, all kinds of weakness that slows your process down. There is lethargy, there is loss of confidence. You cannot face people. People turn inwards. That is Shukra Dhatu.
Depression.
Yeah, can be. Anxiety. Because this is the essence. If all the dhatus are doing well, the Shukra Dhatu will do well. Mind thing also comes under this zone. And in Ayurveda, Shukra is in every cell. Because the element of reproduction is in every cell. That's true. So it is Sarva Sharira Vyapi. There is no particular place for the Shukra Dhatu. It is everywhere. So it will, if the Shukra Dhatu is good, it will exhibit in your speech, in your mannerism, in the way you are with the society. Because it is the essence.
But what about as you age, right? And you go into menopause?
Yes.
Right? So that's a natural aging process.
That is a kala.
Okay.
Time. Time is used by Ayurveda as a therapy. Time will heal everything. Time is
No, but in this instance, right, you're not going to reproduce.
Yes.
Because that's part of the aging process.
But maybe you have done that process. It's,
Right.
Yeah, we're done with
the job is done.
Okay.
Why do you need it then? I mean, it will be there. I don't mean why do you need it in the sense of utilization,
Uh-huh.
but the job is done.
So then, but then does it mean that the Shukra Dhatu is depleting
Not depleting.
or decreasing?
It will stay,
Mm.
but it will not cause any problems for you.
Okay, got it.
It will always be with you. It is something, so it is represented in good examples that a flower bud, there is no fragrance in the flower bud. The fragrance, imagine the fragrance as the Shukra part. Only when the bud blooms into a fully grown flower that it will give its essence. So Shukra Dhatu, the same goes for the young kids. Is there no Shukra Dhatu? There is Shukra Dhatu, which is in dormant stage. At the right time, at the right age, it will flourish.
Seriously.
Right? At the right age, it will flourish. So the accessory tissue, like in the Rasa Dhatu, we saw menstrual blood and your question. Is it not in the males? It is there in the dormant stage. They don't need that.
Yeah.
There is a breast tissue in male, but it's not functional. So it is there. They will have the accessory tissues, but it's not functional. It's the matter of time. Same goes with the fruit. If the fruit is not ripe yet, it won't have its original rasa. Won't have its original taste. When it's like fully grown fruit, the taste will be at every nook and corner of that fruit. That's Shukra Dhatu. That exhibits in every cell, every part that's present within us. Okay. That's the idea of Shukra Dhatu. Shukra Dhatu has also, oh no, okay, yeah, that's Shukra Dhatu. The essence of life is Ojas. You know better than me about Ojas.
Sorry, can you quickly put that slide back on? I just wanted
Please.
to take a picture.
Yes.
Thank you.
What is reproduction? Function is reproduction. What's the Ayurvedic term for that?
I think it's Prajanan.
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 Janan.
Prajanan. Jana is people. To produce. Prajanan.
Janana means to be born. Janana.
Janan.
Java
Janana.
is the word.
Janani.
Born.
Janani. Jagat Janani. What?
Janani?
Janani?
You say
Janani means
Janani.
mom.
Oh, Janani means
Jan-
woman, right? In Punjabi.
Is it?
Janani, huh?
Janani. You don't know Punjabi.
I know, I've heard this word Janani.
Janani, yeah. Yes, it's woman. Oh, there you go. Lots of women.
Okay. Ojas. It is the essence of all the tissues, resides in the heart. It has Apara Oj and Para Oj. Anxious illuminates us from within, and it has got all 5 tastes. We are now moving to tastes after this. If it's excess than normal, it leads. It is, even if it's in excess, it's going to do all good to you. Peaceful mind, well nourished, develop physic and psyche. It's going to do all good to you. But if the oj, you can relate oj to confidence, to face people. If that depletes, there is anger, there's all that what I don't want to read. Sorrow, aggression. There is no good perception to the outer world. There is a sensory distortion seen. There is, because the senses are the one which help you relate, to help you understand the outside world. Loss of mental strength, there is no willpower. And if mind is affected, it slowly affects all the tissues and it affects the physical representation. So,
So is it more psychological then?
can be ojas, but oj can only come out if all the tissues are doing well.
I see.
The tissues are dependent, I mean, this is dependent on all the tissues.
When you say unctuous, what does that mean in this term? Because I thought unctuous means like
Oily.
Oily, right?
Literally oily. Anxious means oily.
So, your ojas, that vitality, is oily
Can only come through, yes, yes.
because if there's
Us din
oil, you can put.
Somebody said rukha. Rukha admi cannot exhibit that ojas. You should be welcoming. That welcomingness comes from being snigdha.
Mm. I'm
To
just trying to see
accepting.
what, like that oily, what you're using that as a metaphor, right? That it's oily.
One
That,
of the 20 attributes we saw, oily. Only a snigdha person can be welcoming, can be accepting, can be good to people.
What is snigdha?
So if-
Anxious, oily.
Okay.
Oily,
So
yeah.
that's depending on the tissues, right?
Yeah,
So then again you have to work on the tissues to be.
definitely. This is not, this is a gift by all the tissues. This will not come easily. To work on it.
So this body we get from our vasanas, and in the sense that means we whatever we did or we born with it, right? So those tissues, all those things are already
We
we
cannot-
got
But
it.
they keep changing,
Right?
right? So
Yeah, they
it's
keep
your,
changing with your lifestyle, with what you do in your life.
how you think and all of that,
Yes,
right?
definitely there is an influence of birth into all this, but we can work on it.
Because you said it keeps changing.
Yeah, there is an influence of your hereditary hierarchy, your parents, that prakriti, but you can work on them. The mind, you work on your mind doing yoga and everything, the way you work on your body.
So again, it's just, it is the food you eat, it is the way you think, it's the way you know, all of that.
Yes,
Not just
mind, body, spirit.
spirit, mind, body, soul, it's the whole.
Yes. Prasanna Atmendriya Mana.
Yeah.
So you talk about if your ojas is in excess than normal, right? Then you have contentment in your life and a peaceful mind. But what if it's normal? I mean, isn't normal the medium, the madhyam you were talking about, isn't that what the
The normal is normal.
Okay.
The normal is normal.
Okay.
And even if it goes to, very rarely that it will go to excess,
Uh-huh.
very rarely. And if it goes, it is still normal. It is still good for you. Normal is also good, excess is also good in case of ojas.
But the less part is, depletion is bad.
Then it is,
But from this, it seems to me, from that comment, if in excess than normal, then it leads to contentment.
so if in normalcy there is no contentment, do you mean that?
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. I don't think so, it is that.
Okay.
I think this is the
Don't
only thing
think-
that in excess is good.
Can be good. And very rare it is
Yeah.
good. Rarely.
But I'm just saying, just from that sentence, it makes me feel that normal is not good enough.
I mean, you can do better, it means.
No, I mean, when you're saying if it's in excess than normal, then only then you feel contentment or peaceful mind.
Don't
Right.
take it literally, I'll say.
Okay, alright.
If you take things, if you get caught into that,
Okay.
Brahma.
huh?
Brahma.
So we are ending it with the ojas, the ashta dhatu. I mean, the sapta dhatu actually. Ojas is not one of the dhatus.
Is that actually?
Huh?
Is that ice cream?
No,
No.
it is poop.
Okay, I'm
No.
saying chocolate.
Now that is perception. I like that. That's perception again. That's amazing. Perception. It's how you see things in life.
Anita,
Ice cream.
it's not ice cream, it's ass cream.
I like that.
I will not forget this.
There's a movie also that came out, right?
Which one? Anyway.
Now I was all about that's so just foolish.
We know that. Come on. You should stop with a good one.
But this is very important.
It's very important.
तो क्या जिंदगी है?
Yeah.
That gives us the real satisfaction.
Yes.
Contentment.
It's almost like eating ice cream.
And if that doesn't happen well,
I know.
it's going to disturb your day. Days for some
Yeah.
people.
Agreed.
And that's the major thing that this area may be experiencing, because the place that we live in is a very dry, light, cold that causes a lot of constipation. Hence anxious. Anxious is the goal.
Yes.
रूखा नहीं होना है.
घी खाना है.
Sneha is important in life. Sneha is love. So, feces, purisha, poop. So, purusha is different, purisha is different. Purisha.
Wow.
सिर्फ ऊ एंड आ का फर्क है.
But that's a big farak.
Because when you go, you say, ah.
Hey, Bhagwan.
Right, and when you don't go, you go, ooh.
It's okay. Okay, we got it, okay?
Three major.
Sorry.
Senioritis has begun.
The internal mechanism can be judged mainly by the purusha, by the feces, by the poop. Now the function, would you question me why it gives strength? It provides strength.
Because it gets rid of the toxins.
Because you can digest.
Okay. Think it otherwise. When there is when in case of dehydration, diarrhea, if there is a lot of loss of purusha, how do you feel?
Exhausted.
So that gives strength. That gives strength. And in case of Rajakshma, that is tuberculosis disease, there is majority, the body tissues go under depletion in tuberculosis. There is a dhatu kshaya. All the tissues undergo kshaya, and what is formed in excess is the mala. And that gives strength to that person. That person can be alive. If that person's feces are again moved out, because they are the waste, throw them out.
Yeah.
If that is done, it's hard. The life is in danger. That's the only example I can give you. So if it is an excess, abdominal, I don't have to tell you, everybody experiences that. Abdominal distension, flatulence, heaviness, pain, all of that. And the sign of a good, healthy system is when the tissue or when the feces are well formed. Hence, this is well formed. See? This is well formed. Huh? It is floating. It should be floating. It should not sink. If it sinks, it has ama. You know, we spoke of ama last time. It has those obstructions in the body. And normal color.
So when it floats, What does that mean? Like when you say it, when it's sinking.
It is sinking. So what are the qualities of the ama that we saw? It is sticky, and something which is sticky, it will be heavy, and hence it floats down. It goes down.
Yeah. Sinks.
And it has to be with a little. See, if something is excess in the system will throw it out, right? And if the system is well lubricated, there will be some oily thing coming out with the waste. So the waste produced will be effortless. It will be unctuous. It will be little lubricated well. Only when it is well lubricated that it will not stick to the tissues inside.
Right.
The system has to be in a good flow, and the system should always move forward. The flow can also be backwards. So system should always flow forward and lubricated. And if anything other than this, which is, something is done with efforts, that is wrong, because then there is no enough lubrication in the body. If there is no regularity, then there is a problem.
So what about certain foods affecting you in different ways?
Yeah, can be. Different foods for different you will be different.
Like, like sometimes, like certain foods, right, broccoli or cauliflower, right, how they cause flatulence to some people but not others.
I have seen people eating a lot of broccoli just to flush everything out. That's the mechanical pressure given. Nothing, and that was a myth created that the broccoli actually, it is a laxative or it cleanses your gut. But that's not, that's a mechanical pressure created.
Oh, just by the fact that you're eating
it. I have seen people doing it.
No, but what does it mean when certain foods cause gas in some people and not others? That means they're lacking something, or?
There can be different things. If they cannot digest that thing, can be one. The other thing, we spoke all of this last time when we did Agni. If there is Agni Mandya, if their digestion is not great to digest that particular thing, if they have had that in a wrong time, in a wrong quantity, in a wrong quality, it's going to affect the poop. If they decrease in quality and quantity, it causes noisy, because suddenly there is nothing left inside. Everything is thrown out of the body in case of depletion. Hence, the vata will keep rolling inside. When there are people when they are hungry, they feel their stomach growls a lot. Because it's a vata which rolls inside, and it's time to eat something. The apana vayu has a movement downwards.
Right.
But there is no Vatanu-Loman. We are going to see how we treat it. Vatanu-Loman.
So I don't understand the decreasing in quantity of the poop. So what do you mean by decreasing in quantity? It only will happen if you are eating very less, right?
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah. And also if the system, is not able to throw the waste out, if things are accumulating inside. Some people do not pass any bowels for 3 days.
so then constipation would also come in that category.
Yeah. Constipation, diarrhea, everything will come. Excess, less. I don't know what comments will come now. Okay. The urine. The next important waste is the urine. And we saw which Dhatu is the urinary disorders related to hot urine.
Oh, fire.
Pitta. Pitta and who are best friends? Rakta.
Rakta.
Great. Right. Clay the Vahan is the function of the Buddha actually. Clay is actually the dirt which moves out of the system.
Is it clay?
Clay the.
Clay
Clay the. Clay is actually the sticky thing in the system that's thrown out. And if it is in excess, intense discomfort, pain, bifurcated or dribbling urine, different kinds of urinary disorders that you will see.
What about urinary tract infections? Where is that?
Infection, see, it depends on where it is coming from, the cause. Nidanam Parivarjanam, the basic principle of Ayurveda. Nidan is the hetu, the cause. Nidan has two meanings again. Nidan can also be the diagnosis, but Nidan is also hetu, the cause. So majority of the times if the causes, when you get rid of the causes, the things are done. The platform is set for wellness.
What does that word mean? Micturition at the end. Bifurcated and unsatisfied.
Micturition is passing of urine, is micturition.
Oh, okay.
That process, the passing of urine, that process is called micturition. Painful, burning micturition, all of that.
New word.
The kidney disorders, all that come under the depletion. Because there is an obstruction which happens through the kidney, ureters and the bladder. If there's obstruction, the Vata element comes in and Vata will cause that obstruction. Obstruction will always be caused by Vata. And the pain symptom is related to which dosha? Vata. Very good. Vata. Obstruction. Wherever there is an obstruction, there will be pain. If the system is flowing well, effortlessly, no pain. And burning is associated with Pitta. And stagnation, Kapha. Great. Great. Sweat. To take care of the tissues, of the follicles, that is Sveda. If in excess, it causes profuse sweating, odor. So, a Medas Vyakti, a person who has a lot of fatty tissue, you will see that person will sweat with a very little effort and he will sweat with the odor. Always. You will see this. So that everything is related. Related to the Kapha dosha, the Meda dhatu, the Mala, the Sveda. So this is the key. You have to pick something from the other and then make a disease. And if the Sveda undergoes depletion, hair fall, dryness in the tissues, because when the sweat comes off, when sweat exits the pores, it will give us a nice shine to the skin, and that is lost. When the Sveda comes out of the system, and in this kind of dry, cold region, we should work out. That physical exercise is very important because then it will help to keep the skin naturally unctuous. naturally snigdha, naturally oily. Three major uh, waste: feces, urine, sweat, and the rest, the dhatu mala we saw, were the sub waste. And this is one of the sutras given wherein you should ask these questions and say, are my body tissues well? These are the examination. If there are no complaints of any deformity or any disorders, any signs, any symptoms, if the skin is normal with a normal complexion, your complexion, normal, well nourished, well developed body, good strength and endurance, desire for a food at the right time, not hogging, ability to relish good food for the mind and the body cognition, that you understand, think with clarity, the digestion happens in time, the ingestion is in time, optimum timely sleep, no abnormal dreams during sleep, and you wake up fresh, easy, natural, vega vidharan. We saw the urges last time. Do not, if anybody wants to use the restroom, please. Waking up fresh, natural, effortless elimination, and well cognitive mind with mental clarity, intellect, sense organs, and associated with no unhealthy signs and symptoms. And all this will move you towards happiness. So this is said in the book, okay? This is not what I have made up. Sukha. Ayu Arogyam Saukhyam. So it will drive you towards happiness, and happiness is health. Now, we saw the depleted dhatu, the excess dhatu, but now we will see the essence of the dhatu. How do we look at a dhatu and say, oh, this is the best form of dhatu, the best quality of dhatu? This is called dhatu sara. Sara is the best version. And mind you, this is not acquired at birth. This can have an influence, but not acquired at birth, but may be influenced. And it is dominant at multiple levels. Some may have a good rasa dhatu, some may not. Some may have a good asti dhatu, majja dhatu. So it is at different levels, okay? And dosha prakriti is very famous, but if the dosha prakriti is added with this examination, fantastic. A perfect evaluation can happen. And we will see people, you will put people under these categories when I go through it. You will put yourself somewhere. So it is, Sara is goodness together. Sara is the best version. So every dhatu will have its Sara. So before you take this, Rasa Sara is related to Tvaka Sara. Right? Any questions? Rasa Sara. If we want the Rasa Dhatu to be really good, it is related to The twak, it is related to your skin.
Twak is skin.
Yeah, twak is skin. Twacha. Twak is skin. And skin and mind is related. Do we know that?
We didn't know that.
Did you know that?
So what are we studying here? I didn't understand. What is the Sara and how is it, what does it have to do with Dhatu?
The best version. How do I understand that I have a good Majja Dhatu? So there are certain physical qualities given. Good question, I didn't mention that. So there are certain physical qualities given so that you can group people into, oh, his Majja Dhatu is really good. Oh, his Mausa Dhatu is really good. Oh, this person is like that, so okay, this Dhatu is very good. So just doing dosha evaluation is not enough. When you do this along, an advanced version of an evaluation can be done.
So you are saying that first is dosha evaluation, means when you see, when you go through you do dosha, and then you go through this dhatu, and then this sara.
But that there are not too many
Dhatu
questions
sara.
asked. Some things, I'm sure you must have learned praman. What are the pramans? Pratyaksha praman.
We don't teach.
Anuman praman. But we did in the YIC, no? No?
No, in Vedanta did.
Ha. In
Pratyaksha,
those videos,
Anuma,
Pratyaksha, Anuman,
Agam.
Agam, Apta, that is Apta Praman, Yukti Praman.
Yukti.
So some things are not always asked. We evaluate it at the back of the mind. Oh, this is it. So if you want the questions that we can ask for people to understand those, there are no as such questions, but there are certain things that you anuman. Okay, this is happening. So this can be the scenario. This is happening. Oh, so this is the condition. So nothing is often spoon-fed, even in Ayurveda. Things have to be understood. He thinks, because the acharyas who wrote Ayurveda think that the people are smart. Ucha, what? Okay, so like the Sanskrit has different meanings to it. The simple word, like the Shishira word, had different meanings to it. So the acharyas always thought that the people who read this will evaluate things on their own. They will have a very good Anuman Praman. And hence, Vagbhata thought that I don't know about the other generations or how will the people be, or will they understand my hidden meanings, and hence he got all the good from the other books and he collaborated into a simple version, which is short, crisp version. Just to different buddhi, people have uttam buddhi, madhyam buddhi, hina buddhi. So to even make it simple for the hina buddhi, he spelled it for us. But there are certain things which are not spelled because there is not so much data available. But there are concepts. There are different concepts in Ayurveda that help us to build what we have. There was a doctor who said that modern medicine has a lot of data, but they don't have concepts. There are no concepts. So it is easy to build up on the concepts and then have data. It's hard to have a lot of data and then conceptualize. That's hard. We have the ideas, we just need to explore it. So skin. So, first day we saw what connects us to the outside world.
Sparsh.
Good. So what are those?
Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa.
Yeah.
The senses
Yeah.
are the real connection to the outside world. And the senses are placed in the tvaka. All the senses are placed in the skin. Skin is a demarcation to the outside world and us. And that is why it is the largest organ.
Yeah.
It is the largest organ. And if the rasa dhatu is good, it will immediately reflect on the skin. Skin and mind are very, very, very related to each other. How? Which element resides in the skin?
Air.
Very good.
Yeah.
Air.
Yeah.
The part of the air is our breath. And what the kite that I showed you last time,
Yeah.
what controls the kite? It is your breath. So all that connection, if you think skin, first sign of stress is seen on the skin. The mind is undergoing something, it will show up on the skin. Hence the skin should be unctuous, it should be oily, it should be smooth, soft. There's a pleasant aura of a rasa sar people. They have a very adorable aura around, and a deep rooted, smooth, fine skin on hair on the body. And what does it indicate? It indicates that they are happy, they have a good knowledge, good wealth and intellect. Raktasara. I'll finish the Sara. Finish the Sara.
What does it mean by wealth? What kind of, you mean to say that people who are good looking have more chances of success in life? That's what
Yes.
you're saying?
Good looking doesn't mean good rasa dhatu.
Good. So then it implies that they have the capacity to do.
Yes, potential is there. There is potential. They do or they don't do is depends on the person. Raktasar, the Raktasar people are reddish. They will look red. Their eyes, ears, nose, karna, akshi, mukha, jiva, nasa, oshta, pani, padatara, nakha, lalata, mehanam. So all their body parts become red, even normally. Have you seen these people around?
Yes.
So they are Raktasar.
Wait,
The nails, forehead, yeah.
when you say reddish, do you like there are people that have
Copperish, reddish.
rosacea? That's very like red.
But that is a disorder, right?
Right, that's what I'm
Normal.
trying.
Their skin, you can see it everywhere.
Okay, like a healthy rosy glow.
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
But there is a different shade also for, they'll be typically red, all their ears
Ears,
and
and when they run, like
Ah.
here it becomes red here.
But is that a good thing if they're red
they are
all over?
Raktasar. Yeah. They are
Like if they've got
Raktasar.
red ears, I mean, I don't know.
Like my daughter.
Natural.
You know, just a little bit of effort.
Even my son is like that. He's like,
No, but like it's one thing like right after you've exercised and
Generally, she's
That is when there is a good blood flow.
okay.
So that is blood flow. But these people are normally reddish in their complexion, coppery.
Is that a good thing?
They are Raktasar. They have the best Rakta.
Hmm.
It indicates a good flow generally.
I don't know, because if I see somebody with red ears, I might think they're angry.
They can be.
No, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
We can think.
they can
Meaning
be.
what she's really saying is they're quick to become red. That really doesn't mean that people who don't become red are not angry. They can be angry and still not be red. And the ones that have this Raktasara may be quickly, like when they blush, they look red. When they
Even if they smile, they become red.
Not only that, like people have
Reddish.
like you said, tongue. Some people have pale tongues, and then some people have.
Especially nose and ears. Karanakshi, it begins with that. So the first thing in a sutra is very important. So Karanakshi, he says Karna, the ears turn red. They are normally also, they have a reddish tinge. See, red is nothing absolute. Again, same thing. There is a range to it. And what does this imply? A good vitality, happiness. But these are called manasvi. Raktasar people are manasvi. They do what they want to do. They will not listen to you. Raktasar. So if you see all these elements, you can put them in this category. Raktasar. Manasvi. They have moderate strength. They have very moderate strength. They don't have a lot of strength in them. They have lack of endurance. They have good strength, but they cannot sustain that for a longer time. Intolerance to heat.
Because of Pitta.
Yeah. Pitta and Rakta, best friends. Mausasar. A very stable, good, heavy, strong structure to the body. Face, forehead, cheeks, jaws, shoulders, abdomen. A good covering to the skeletal system. Very short, maybe they are very short in structure. Stout kind of personality. And these are very forgiving people. You can imagine someone with a good strength. They're very forgiving. You must have also seen these people around. They're very forgiving. They are happy with what they have. There is no greed. They're simple, they're strong, they know their strength and they can keep it with themselves. They don't like exhibiting it. They live longer and happier. Mausasar. Medasar. Anybody wanted to click?
Just
Medasar. So the adipose tissue should also exhibit itself on the outer world with smooth, unctuous, soft skin, complexion, voice, hair, eyes, skin, nails, lip. Their urine will also smell. The Medasar Vyakti. Like a normal smell. Feces. These people have the most material wealth. You must have seen really filthy rich people. They are like fat because it's Medasar. Can you relate? Does it make sense? Filthy rich, excess of wealth that they have. They have the most material wealth in life. They have the power. They are delicate. They're very delicate. They do the things very delicately. They have a very constructive attitude. They will never destruct anything. But then there is no good enough strength and endurance, and hence they end up, they're more succumb to a lot of discomforts because of the Meda. Asthisar. Very tall personalities, they do not gain weight easily. They have prominent, strong bones, and you can make it out from their feet. They have a very typical larger frame of their feet than it will suit their body structure. And there are people, they do not gain weight easily. Their joints are really strong, rounded. They have, these collarbones are really, very visible. Teeth are very visible. They're very, very strong dentition, very strong big teeth. Highly mahotsaha. They are called mahotsaha, enthusiastic, highly active. They are hard-working people. Asthisar can get into a lot of sports and they'll do real good in sports industry because they have that enthusiasm inbuilt within them. They have the least comfort. There is the most less comfort is with Asthisar people. Good strength and good endurance. They do great in sports. They're very hardworking. Majjasar. Their bones and their joints are well filled. They have no complaints about the skeletal system. And people with good voice, people who sing well, they are Majjasar. Always. Stable, firm, rounded joints.
So have you noticed that people who sing well are also well-rounded in body?
Yes, you
And
will
they have
see.
beautiful skin, like my aunt and so many people I noticed.
Yeah.
They are just
Majority of the
really
singers
good
are a little
singers.
plump.
I was like always wondering why it's like that. And
They
I've
are a
never
little
seen a skinny
plump.
person sing well.
They are always plump, and there are very less singers who are very lean. Because there is a vata element in it. There will be a roughness in the voice. And what they do, I mean, how much ever good they do, that is with efforts, that is hard working, that is asthisa, because they work hard on their voice to sing well. But these people with a good Meda, Majja, good Shukra Dhatu, they sing well effortlessly. They're very good singers. Majja also means the brain. Brain is also a Majja in the cranium. So great intelligent, deep thinkers, excellent application, healthy offsprings, because if the Majja is great, the Shukra will be great, and they are well honored in the society. Shukra, highly attractive personalities. They have a magnetic aura, excellent vitality, strong foundation. The females have a strong pelvis, and that is one of the again measures of a good Shukra Dhatu. Excellent speech and mannerism. Fertility, everything comes with it. And just as the tissues have the ojas with it, so the saras have the sattvasar. Ashtasar. Excellent intelligence, memory, great devotion, bhakti bhava. These people have the bhakti bhava. Always grateful, enthusiastic. They are very strong as warriors, but that strength they will use for the goodness of the society than exhibiting the strength. The inner strength is much greater than what is exhibited manually. And that is what the Sattvasar people have. Compassion, empathy, well organized, they work for the society. Also, Majjasar people have big eyes, Netra Gauravam. They have real big eyes, and the white in their eyes will be literally like a milk. That is one of the characteristics of Shukrasar. So these saras are explained in by each sage, by each acharya. So the different expressions made by different acharya. So I have put all of them together in bits and parts. So that's the Sara.
So it seems to me like there's a lot here, right? So when you're evaluating somebody, this seems like a lot of things to evaluate in one person. So how long does something like this take to evaluate?
That is what? It is Anuman Praman. There's a different Pramans.
By the way, there is Pramana in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, but our Pramanas are not exactly the same as your Pramanas. We don't have Yukti Pramana, for example.
Okay.
We don't have Apta Pramana.
Okay.
We have Shabda Pramana.
Apta and Agam is same. Something which comes down.
Okay.
Apta and Agam is same. Praman is the way to receive the knowledge. He thinks whoever reads my books are excellent with a
Nobody
good
assuming.
assume. Anuman Praman is he gives an example. If there is a fire burning, even if I don't see the fire, I see the fumes coming. Hence I can anuman.
Yeah.
I can
That there is a fire.
I mean what I conclude is that there is a fire down there. There is a lot of things which are under that category. I wanted to do some rasas next time. Very interesting. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Simply awesome.
2 minutes.
What? Oh yeah,
No,
you all
you
can
can
take a
do
break if you want.
No, no, listen. Yeah. Oh, I
Take break.